I remember a time when I was falling apart a lot in private. I do not want to say exactly when this was happening. The timing is not important. What I want to talk about is the difference between what people saw and what was really going on. There was a gap between the way I looked on the outside and what was happening on the inside. I think this is something I can say about my life. When people saw me during that time, I seemed okay. I was able to be around others. I looked like I was in control. I had been practicing being calm and composed for a time, so it had become easy for me to do even when it was hard. This meant that when I was with people, I could put on a calm face without even thinking about it. So the people around me saw the calm me, the me who had everything under control. When I was alone, things were very different. The me that people saw was not the me. I was breaking down, struggling, and this was not something that people could see. I want to talk about this gap between the me and the me that people saw. I think it is important to be honest about what was going on. My life was not always easy. There were times when I was struggling. When I was around people, I was able to hide my true feelings and seem like everything was okay. This was not always easy for me to do. I had to make an effort to do this. I say I broke down. I want to explain what I mean by that. I think the phrase broke down can make people think of something dramatic. That is not what I mean. It was not like that. It was not the kind of breaking down that people can see. It was not something that happened in front of others. It was quieter and more private. It was what happens when you have been holding everything together for a time. You do this so that you can deal with things when you are alone and you do not have to hold everything together anymore. You just stop trying. Then the feelings that you were hiding come up. The feelings that I was hiding were big and heavy. They were waiting for me to be alone so they could come out. When I was around people, I was hiding my true feelings and seemed like everything was okay. When I was alone, I broke down and my true feelings came out. Breaking down is what happens when you stop holding everything. It is what happens when you are alone. You can finally be yourself. I broke down. It was a quiet and private thing. It was not something that other people could see. It was real and it was important. I broke down. I had to deal with my feelings. Nobody saw it because I did not let anyone see it, and I want to be honest that this was a choice rather than an accident. I was aware that I was keeping something contained, and I was deliberately keeping it contained because I did not have a way of sharing it that felt safe or appropriate or that would not produce a set of responses I was not equipped to manage on top of everything else I was already managing. I am okay now. I want to say that clearly because it is true. What I am describing is not the current state of things but a period that I am on the other side of. And being on the other side of it, I can tell you that the private breaking down, as uncomfortable as it was doing something necessary, was processing something that needed to be processed, and the world not seeing it did not mean it was not real, and the realness of it, the private unwitnessed realness of it, was actually important.